On the outskirts of Imperial space lives a clan of orcs quite unlike any others. They wear clan colours unaffiliated with anything in the Imperial archives, and their skin is of an alien breed, even for the fungal Xenos. But these are inconsequential, for what is truly baffling among them is their deity. Of Gork and Mork, Imperial scholars know. But this clan, they know a third, and in that god's name they ride. This is the third orc god, Torg. The sons of Magnus, meanwhile, are a traitorously inquisitive sort. Tell them not to push the big red button on the wall, and they shall push the big red button on the wall. Of course, no loyal Imperial citizen would do such a thing. That is the domain of heretics. What brings the followers of Torg and curious traitors to the same battlefield? The promise of war, or knowledge, or a Byzantine notion of fun, most likely. A source of power so great, the orcs believe it to be their third god birthing into reality. The thousand suns drawn by such a magnitude of power that they believe could be twisted to their own ends? As a faithful archivist of the Imperial Majesty, I dare not even speculate. But this isn't a narrative battle report. This is a tactical battle report. A tac rep, if you will. So put aside this bustling narrative and join me as I ruminate upon thought processes, plans bearing fruit and gone awry, the evolving situation, and the bastard of all life, hindsight. I hope you find a glimmer of a lesson within this recording. Hello everybody, Glass Half Dead here, and welcome to my tac rep, as that Imperial servitor decided to call it. The point of a tactical report is that if you don't actually really care that much about the gameplay on the board, or the rolls of the dice and the luck of chance, you can just jump down in the bookmarks below the different points where I'm going to be talking about how I think things went, what I could have done better, what I should have done instead, etc, etc, and you don't need to watch the gameplay. However, if you don't particularly like people nitpicking at tactics, you don't have to watch those either. You could just jump to the gameplay. It's all bookmarked below. Please do jump around to your preferred content, or of course be an absolute legend and just watch the entire thing. And of course the type of legend that might already be doing that is probably a subscriber of my channel, and if you are a subscriber of my channel, then I would like to give you a big double hello. Wasn't that incredibly wholesome? If you would like yourself a double pleasantry in the next video, like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you want more about the Kill Team community in general, check out the link to my Discord. If you want more about my channel in general, check out the Facebook link, all in the description and the top comment below. And this beautiful terrain that I'm playing on today is all provided by Right Terrain Studio. Again, links in descriptions, top comments, etc. It's beautiful and it's custom built. You can tell him what you want him to do and he will do it for you. And if you're particularly enamored with this battle report and the things I'm doing on this channel, consider that I have a Patreon as well, and any and all support is greatly appreciated. But now let's get on with the battle report. Today I am playing Mission 1 from the Kill Team Championship pack, or as I tend to call it, the LVO 2021 pack, but that's technically not what it's called. I'm playing 125 points, Orks versus Thousand Suns, obviously. There are 4 objectives on the board, but the bonus objective for Mission 1, Duality, is that if you hold exactly 2 objectives, you get an extra VP, which does prove for interesting gameplay that requires a slight diversion from the typical mindset of take as many objectives as you possibly can. In the Kill Team Championships pack, you have the option of playing with all of the secondary objectives to be chosen from, or rolling them as pods, which means a random selection. I personally much prefer the pods, so that's what I'm playing with here, and I randomly rolled pod 3. With all of that front matter out of the way, let's meet the teams themselves, and then we'll be back to me with a quick rundown of why I've deployed as I have, and what I'm hoping to do with both teams for round 1, general game plan stuff. First up, we have the Orks. 12 models, meaning they need to lose 7 before a break test. They're running the Freebooters sub-faction for extra shooty goodness. As always with Orks, the cheerleader Grot is the emotional core of the team, and so is the leader. Ammo runts are a must in an Ork list with any amount of shooting. Flash Git Captain with Git Finder Squig and a Chopper as a heavy. 2 Ork Boys with shooters. Boss Snob from the Boys datasheet as a demo spec with Combi Weapon and Scorcher. Commando Boss Snob with Power Claw plus his 2 Commando friends. A very suboptimal pick, Looter. And finally a Looter Spanner with Big Shooter as a comms. TSons are 11 models, meaning they only need to lose 6 before a break test is needed. This is a very straightforward list with no surprises. The leader is a Twist Bray Zangor with Zangor blades. Zangor with a Bray Horn as a comms. Aspiring Sorcerer with Warp Flame Pistol as a combat. Rubric Marine Gunner with Soul Reaper Cannon as a demo spec. Rubric Marine with Warp Flamer and Icon of Flame. Finally 6 Zangors, all with Zangor blades. When it comes to secondaries, Orks picked Overkill, Engage on all fronts and Reaper. TSons picked Overkill, Dogpile and again Reaper. With the teams discussed, I've already deployed and there's not a huge amount to really add. The Orks have 3 commandos in reserves, the TSons don't have anything in reserves. There was the possibility of putting a single Zangor that could then come on at right in a corner edge, but because the Orks have such lethal shooting, I didn't feel it was worth the risk, and in this deployment zone, with this terrain, you cannot see a single thing from your deployment zone. The Orks really want to go second so that they can move just enough to pick up sight lines on a few models. The TSons really do not want to go first. The Orks can handle going first, but they might end up moving a little bit further than they want to. They might advance where they didn't need to and then be taking -1 to their ballistic skills. Whereas the TSons are going to have to play a very cagey turn if they go first, and almost give up the first turn to ensure that they can survive it. When it comes to the secondaries picked, as you can tell, I am playing both teams, and so my biases are coming through into which secondaries I picked. I really like Overkill and I really like Reaper in both of these matchups. You need to kill 6 models for Reaper, and both of these are relatively fragile teams. Obviously the Rubrics are very strong, but the Zangors will just die. I mean, a 5-up is easy to fail. Likewise, the Orks, 6-up saves almost all across the board apart from the Flash Git. I actually think that picking Dogpile for the Zangors there was probably a bad choice. I don't think I'm going to score that 3 times. If I get 2 though, I'll be really happy. Don't forget, this is a shooting Ork list, so I don't think I'm going to get that many charges off. I decided to Engage on all fronts was probably a good pick because I have the commandos, which means I can get into the enemy's corner pretty easily, and then with this deployment zone I'm already practically in 3/4, so it's kind of an easy one. Especially on this map because there are no objectives in my quarter, which means I pretty much have to be in all 4 corners of the board just to play the game. The Orks should be getting Overkill every time they make a kill, so that's easy for them. However, the TSons, really that's only going to be the Warp Flamer and the Soul Reaper Cannon that can score that. So if the Flash Git kills those early, that's pretty much a lost objective for them. Anyway, I can't talk too much to tactics right now because we need to see who goes first. That really dictates the pace of the game. Let's see how it goes. A quick look at deployment for both teams just so you can orientate yourself on the board. Into turn 1 and the Orks win initiative. The first Ork boy advances, moving on to the point. The second Ork boy follows him. The Flash Git makes a normal move for better line of sight. Both the looter and his ammo runt shimmy round whilst the leader runs and hides, as he well should. The Knob gets a very disappointing advance and doesn't go where he wants. The looter spanner makes a normal move, getting him onto the point. Onto the TSons, and the sorcerer advances, but after looking at the options doesn't go very far and stays out of line of sight of the Scorcher. The Zangor rolls a big advance and makes full use of it. Second Zangor reinforces the point. The next 4 Zangors all head towards the other point, whilst the comms stays where he is. Rubric Gunner moves around for better line of sight. The The Rubric Warp Flamer has no good options thanks to the flash kit and opts to run away for a turn but doesn't roll very well on his advance. Psychic Phase and an 8 is a successful cast which kills the Orc Boy on a 5. The Icon of Flame doesn't go off. Shooting Phase and the flash kit hits one time, wounds, save is failed. Flesh wound, but it's a CP reroll and a dead Zangor. Gun Crazy Show Off is a Gun Crazy no go off. Daka 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 to shoot again, hits 3 times, wounds twice, one shot goes through, and a second Zangor is dead on a 6. Rubric Marine Gunner shooting at the looter, the main other ranged threat, hitting twice but failing to wound with Snake Eyes. Thinking long and hard, we CP reroll and get a wound through, but the injury roll fails, so it's just a flesh wound. The looter returns fire, rolling one shot, which misses. The normal Orc Boy's shooter also misses. And the Spanner's big shooter hits once but fails to wound. In the morale phase, even though there's a flesh wound, the looter can't fail at this point. As we scan the board at the end of turn 1, we see that the Orcs hold 2 objectives, scoring them hold 1 along with kill more for their primary. They also score the bonus objective for 1 VP, plus they scored overkill thanks to the flash kit, giving them a total of 4 VP at the end of turn 1. The Thousand Sons score hold 1 and the bonus objective for holding 2 points. No secondaries though. This gives them a total of 2 VP at the end of turn 1. So all things considered, I think that was a pretty standard issue turn 1. We lost 2 Zangors, we lost 1 Orc Boy. Yeah, nothing too serious really. The real advantage the Thousand Sons had there that allowed them to survive that so well is indeed that they went second and meant that they could avoid the knob with the Scorcher. That strength 5 AP-1 is going to absolutely melt through the Sorcerer and, to be honest with you, the Rubric Marine as well. The Flash Kit performed as expected. Sadly, so did the Looter, because Looters aren't very good, but you know, I wanted to run it. From a Thousand Sons perspective, I'm really happy that I managed to zone out any even remotely useful drop for the Commandos. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that in the next round. I think that the Commandos are going to come in. From an Orc perspective, I'm mildly annoyed that I haven't dropped the Commandos in. That actually is a pretty big issue. Because of course the Commandos there aren't really shooters, they are people that are there to be in melee. Which means in reality they're not actually going to be doing anything till at least turn 3. And of course in this board with such a wide deployment zone, I don't think they're going to be doing anything. And of course in this board with such a wide deployment zone, I should have known better and I should have just held them back, allowing them to deploy normally and advance turn 1. I think on the next turn the Flash Kit is going to focus on the Thousand Sons leader, because if he can take out that one model, suddenly the Commandos can drop in a great position, score engage on all fronts, and really threaten the Thousand Sons on turn 3. Turn 2, however, is where things are about to get interesting in this game. We need to see who starts making charges, who's going to fall back, who's going to stand their ground, how this is going to happen. From the Thousand Sons perspective, they still actually want to go second here because they're not quite close enough to get reliable charges. So that means they'll be charging into Overwatches and not likely to get them even on average rolls. And the Orcs feel exactly the same as the Thousand Sons. They want the Thousand Sons to go first so that the Zangors can waste their charges. And once they've wasted their charges, the Orcs are going to have pretty much free movement all across the board, which is going to be really painful. So let's see who gets initiative. And the Orcs go first. Rubric Gunner shifts around for line of sight. Sorcerer successfully charges from out of line of sight of the knob. Warp Flamer advances onto the point. Orc Boy hits nothing on Overwatch and the Zangor makes the charge easily. Zangor leader advances away from the dreaded Flash Kit. This Zangor advances to see his options, but ends up not moving actually. Spanner Looter misses Overwatch, and the Zangor make a charge thanks to being within 6 inches of the Brayhorn. Normal move to find cover from the Flash Kit for his Zangor. Brayhorn runs up, positioning himself for the next turn. Orc Looter readies, Flash Kit moves to reach tastier targets. End of the movement phase, and there is now a nice big hole for the Commandos to drop into. They will drop 5 inches away from various Zangors, one being on a point and one being the leader. Psychic phase and the icon doesn't go off, but the knob does take one mortal wound from the sorcerer. The shooting phase is critical, so both players spend 2 CP for decisive shot, the Orks winning the roll. Flash Kit into Warp Flamer hits 2 times, Ammo Round rerolled hit 3 times, wounds 3, saves 1, 2 damage and dead on a 5. Gun Crazy doesn't go off, so Daka 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 into the Rubric Gunner. I lost the hit roll somewhere, but it hit twice and here's the wound roll, failed to wound. Rubric Gunner uses more bullets tactic, gets comms 5 shots into the Flash Kit, hitting 4, wounding 2, dead on 5. Looter gets 1 shot, misses, Ammo Round reroll and misses again. Commando Knob shoots his pistol into the leader, hits, wounds, no save, dead on 5. Thousand Suns leader is officially dead. Next Commando throws a grenade rolling 6, getting 4 hits, 4 wounds, only 1 save and dead Zangor on a 6. Fight phase charges first and Zangor hits twice, wounds once, and that's just a flesh wound on a 3. Sorcerer hits twice, wounds twice, D3 damages 2, and dead Knob on a 5. The Sorcerer consolidates towards the closest enemy model, getting him within scoring range of the objective. Zangor hits once, wounds once, and gets the kill on a 4. Don't be fooled by my conversion, a Looter is just a regular boy in terms of toughness, wounds, and armor save. Orc Boy strikes back, hits twice, wounds twice, only 1 save, flesh wound on a 3. Into the morale phase, the Thousand Suns have lost enough to take a break test, which they rolled a 9 on, meaning they do break. Every model now has to take a nerve check. First Zangor rolls a 1, which is an auto pass. I use a tactic with my final CP to auto pass the Sorcerer. Zangor on a point fails. Rubric Gunner fails, Brayhorn fails, final Zangor on a point passes on a 1. Orcs don't need to take a break test yet, but the Looter does fail a nerve check, as does the Shooter Boy. And at the end of turn 2, Thousand Suns hold 1 and more, and 2 and scored overkill, giving them 4 victory points this turn. Orcs hold none, but did score overkill. Both teams killed 3 models, so no one gets kill more. At the end of turn 2, the Thousand Suns are broken. Neither team has any command points. The Thousand Suns have 6 VP to the Orcs 5 VP, but of course the Orcs aren't broken, which is pretty big. Now let's go to me sitting on the floor holding a headset microphone in my hand. Okay, so that turn 2 was a lot bloodier than I expected. Certainly to start off with, the Orcs definitely had the upper hand, and I was thinking from the Thousand Suns perspective, oh, well, I guess I'm conceding at the end of this turn. But then, in the melee phase, the fight phase, the Thousand Suns kind of turned it around, and they both ended up killing 3 models each. The Commandos got super lucky managing to kill 2 models all on their own, and they certainly justified my original reason for not dropping them in turn 1. You can argue that was a misplay from the Zangors there, by moving, stopping the block of where they could drop. But really, if somebody isn't dropping in turn 2, even if they're dropping in poor positions, then they've wasted those models. So you can assume that in turn 2, whatever's in reserves is going to drop. So they would have probably ended up affecting something. But of course, the move to allow them to get the leader immediately was really bad. But on the other hand, the Flash Kit would have shot at the leader at that point. He should have shot at the leader in turn 1 if you didn't see that. So in trying to avoid getting shot with the big, huge snaz gun from the Flash Kit, he instead got shot by a standard issue slugger from a Commando. So that's unexpected, if I'm honest. So I should have actually used the stick bomb instead of the slugger on the leader, because the stick bomb does have a high chance of getting to the injury roll there. But I just completely forgot. But then by the time I got to the next model, I was like, oh yeah, I have stick bombs. So I used that, rolled a 6, which is huge. So there you go. This game is much easier to win if you roll a lot of 6s. Pro tip, unless you're against Necrons, watch out for that. Now with the Thousand Suns breaking, normally I'd probably concede at this point, because it's a break at turn 2 is pretty bad. A break at turn 3, if you have enough of a lead, that's kind of okay, but break at turn 2, really bad. However, because Thousand Suns are currently ahead in VP, there's a possibility of them still taking it. We've got our Psyker still on the board, so he could still pop a model a turn. We are still actually bizarrely holding 2 objectives. If they could just continue to hold 2 objectives, they could still have a very serious chance of winning this. In the next turn I'll save CP to also pass the Soul Reaper cannon, hoping that he can continue to get overkill. If other people roll some more ones to hold on the point, then I might even be able to get 2 more kills throughout the game, which will give me Reaper. I still think at this point, because of the break, the Orks are going to take it, but the Orks only need 1 more flesh wound on the board for them to have to take a break test, and that's really what this comes down to. Can the 1000 Suns get 1 more flesh wound on the board, even on a kill, and then will the Orks roll under their leadership, which I think at the moment is just a 7. Because the 1000 Suns are now posing almost no threat at all, really, we don't care who has initiative. The 1000 Suns would still, just on principle, like to go second, but whatever, they know what they're going to do. Our Sorcerer here is going to try and go for their leader, or at the very least get within pistol range, and then he's going to either end up psyching the leader or the ammo runt. That's kind of all he's got to do there. And the Zangors are just going to stay on points. If they can get to behind obscurity and get cover from anyone shooting at them, that would be cool, but not needed, to be honest. Okay, so let's see all of turn 3, and this might be our last turn, depending on how things go. Let's do it. Turn 3, and the Orks win initiative. Commander Nob advances but rolls a 1, so it's a CP reroll into another 1. That was important for engaging all fronts, and quite a fail. Fellow Commando also rolls incredibly low, but is just enough. Third Commando moves onto the point within 6 inches of the Zangor for grenades. Amarunt moves to block the Sorcerer. Leader Grot gets distance from the Sorcerer. Amarunt moves for engaging all front reasons. Commando overwatches with the stick bomb 4 times, hits once, fails to wound. Zangor makes it in. Sorcerer makes a huge charge and closes with the leader Grot after declaring everyone that couldn't shoot the target of his charge. Psychic phase and the Sorcerer puts a flesh wound on the leader. We don't reroll as our melee abilities are more than enough. There is actually no shooting on the board this turn, which is alarming for all involved. Fight phase now, and the Zangor hits twice but fails to wound. Sorcerer only hits once, which is concerning, wounds once, D3 damages 1, gets the kill on a 5. Lucky. Zangor hits twice, fails to wound. Commander hits once, wounds, save is failed, 3 is a flesh wound, but CP reroll into a 6, getting a clutch kill. Morale phase and the Orks break, now all requiring a nerve check. Looter shakes, Amarunt shakes, Boy shakes, Commando shakes, Commando Nob shakes. Trusty Amarunt, however, passes, and final Ork command point is spent to auto-pass Commando on the objective. Over to the 1000 Suns, and they use their final command point to auto-pass their Zangor on the objective. Sorcerer just passes, Rubric Gunner fails, Brayhorn fails, and off-screen a final Zangor also fails. At the end of turn 3, both teams are down to 0 command points, they both hold 1 objective, and they both killed a single model. However, Orks have officially killed enough models to score Reaper for 3 victory points. 1000 Suns scored overkill this turn, but need 1 more kill before they can score Reaper. This takes the Orks to a total of 9 victory points, whilst the 1000 Suns are at 8 victory points. Let's go to our man at the scene, me. Okay, so that's the end of turn 3, and I don't mind saying that is also the end of the game. I didn't actually concede, I did play out the next turn, turn 4. Long story short, I mean, there's honestly no point showing you. The Sorcerer charged into the Amarunt, got the kill. That allowed them to get overkill again, and also Reaper. So the final score was 1000 Suns 12, Orks 9. I'm going to be honest, that's not exactly how I thought the game was going to play out. After the 1000 Suns broke turn 2, I kind of thought, this is probably done now. But they managed to stick in there. They got really lucky managing to pass their Sorcerer for another turn there. They also got lucky rolling a 1 on the morale phase for an extra Zangor. That allowed them to stay in the game. If it wasn't for that, they probably would have lost. But that shows it was just a really close game. If I'm honest, my gameplay with Orks isn't very good. I wouldn't say that this has been a hyper-competitive game for the Orks. I think I did okay with the 1000 Suns, but I really wasn't focused enough because I didn't score Dogpile once. Likewise with the Orks, I didn't score Engage on all fronts, so you can kind of say they cancelled each other out a little bit. But all things considered, the fact that 1000 Suns broke turn 2 and still managed to win by a decent healthy margin, and coming back from being lower down on points turn 1, not too bad. As a player, I really like the secondary overkill. I basically take it all the time, but I'm thinking that when it comes to TSons, I might want to look at different things, because actually, really, there weren't many opportunities for me to score that. The Orks were scoring that really easily, so that fits with my playstyle though. Dogpile would have been much easier to score if I hadn't taken the Warp Flamer. I still like the Soul Reaper Cannon, I think he's great on this open board. And when it comes to Orks, I almost scored engage on all fronts every turn, but I just didn't quite. I had models in place, but inevitably something happened, apart from turn 1, when of course I was blocked out from dropping the commandos. MVP was the Sorcerer actually managing to get into combat. I find that myself personally, and I see it quite often with other players, they hold the Sorcerer back. They think, oh okay, he's got a pistol and he's got Psychic, I'm just going to hold him back. He really should be getting up there, you know, getting into combat with that Force Staff. That's where he gets work done, especially if you're taking him as a combat. But of course, absolutely key to that was me being able to get off a blind charge. If it wasn't for that, he probably would have been toasted on the way in. Perhaps you could say that really the Orcs should have dedicated the Flash Kit to killing the Sorcerer, instead of trying to mess around over here with Zangors who have an invuln save. And for the Orks, it was obviously the Flash Kit. I mean, he's dead now, unfortunately, but he did a really good job. He got like 3 or 4 kills, so he easily made his points back there. If I were to refine my Orc list, I would probably drop the Looter, he sucks, put in 2 Flash Kits, keep the Comms Looter Spanner, keep the Knob with Combi Scorcher, and then just run all Shooter Boys. Forget everything else, go for it. When it comes to the TSons, with that list, I really should have dropped the Warp Flamer. He didn't add anything. Just more Zangors, more bodies, more ways to score Dogpile, more ways to hold objectives would have been much better for me. I think there's real legs for a list of TSons where you only have the Sorcerer and then one other rubric, whether that be the Soul Reaper Cannon or the Warp Flamer. I mean, that's kind of dependent on the map and how you prefer to play. And that's the end of this battle report. Thank you very much for watching to the end if you've made it this far. I hope that this has been a nice little production for you. As I've been going through this and reminding myself just how horrifying editing and how time intensive this is, I'm not sure I'll be doing another battle report like this. But to be fair, now that COVID is going away, I have other ideas of battle reports and formats that I want to do and how I can bring them to you. That's what I'm hoping. I can give you something more engaging. Because although I believe that I do a really good job when it comes to this is a game of Kill Team, I don't think inherently that Kill Team is that interesting to watch in the same way that Warhammer 40,000 isn't that interesting to watch. It's all about the personality, it's about the presentation, it's about learning about the game, whether it be from a beginner standpoint or an advanced standpoint, and it's all about, what's the word? Fun. Right, yeah, it's all about fun. And I don't think that actually watching the game is very fun. So future battle reports I hope are going to be much more personality focused if I can finally start playing against other people regularly. Let's hope so. But if you've liked what I've done here, if you'd consider checking out my Discord, my Facebook, my Patreon, that would all be really great. Thank you very much. And of course, if you made it this far through the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Wasn't that incredibly wholesome? If you want another triple pleasantry in the next video, just watch until the end and subscribe. Yeah, both things I think. Anyway, this has been Glass Half Dead. I hope you've enjoyed, I hope you've had a good day, and I hope you continue to have a good day. Goodbye.